As someone who has lived in Spain for 6 years already, I have experienced a few challenges and I'd like to share them with you. In addition to how I navigated them to make the transition a little bit easier to live in this wonderful country. These are the top 9 problems tourists encounter in Spain and how to solve them. Number 1, language barrier. This really depends on where you go in Spain. And honestly, it should be standard that no matter where you go in the world, you try to learn a few words before traveling to the country. Remember that for the most part, people are really nice and Spain is no exception. The simple fact that you've learned a few phrases here and there will go a long way with the locals. My recommendation would be to use Google Translate or any other translation app to assist you with any difficult translations. Or do what I do and just wing it. How do you wing it? Well, you just point at stuff and hope for the best. Nothing better than dropping yourself into the deep end from time to time. Number 2, pickpocketing. Again, this depends where you are, but wherever you find tourists, you will certainly find pickpockets. Just be mindful of your surroundings, whether you're in the heart of Madrid, in Sol, or literally anywhere and everywhere in Barcelona. Make sure you're holding onto your belongings. If you're wearing a rucksack, put it to the front of you so that you have your pockets in front. Put your money and important items in difficult to reach places, usually deep inside the bag. Do not simply put them in your pockets. This is where you will most likely get robbed. If you're really worried, look into getting an anti-theft bag. Just keep an eye on your stuff and never leave it on its own. Some people may say to avoid crowded areas, but let's be fair, this is almost impossible and you've got to live your life. Number 3, confusing public transportation. Every time I travel to a new town or city in Spain, it feels like hitting the reset button. Trying to navigate which card does what, how much do I have to pay, or even whether I can simply use my debit card is a whole minefield. I'll give you a perfect example. When I went home to the UK for Christmas, I used my Valencia transportation card to take the train to the airport. But when I arrived, I was told I needed to buy a separate ticket. I didn't know that, so I simply paid it, but the only way you can really learn is to experience the frustration of making the mistakes first time round. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You've then also got the confusing maps. In a city you simply do not know. It can feel like an impossibility to know where and how to get anywhere. Citymapper is a game changer here. Honestly, get that app downloaded and it will save you hours of time. The downside is it only works in major cities. The alternative, of course, is Google Maps, which is pretty good, but I'd say Citymapper is certainly better than Google Maps. Number 4, long museum lines. There are literally so many amazing museums in Spain. Sometimes the queues are unavoidable, but usually you can skip the ticket line by buying them online in advance. This will allow you to skip the queue for the most important Madrileño museums, such as the Prado or the Thyssen-Bornemisza, likewise for the Museo Nacional de Arte de Catalunya in Barcelona, or the Museo de Bellas Artes de Valencia in Valencia. I could sit there and systematically go through all the museums in Spain, but you get the point. Go online, buy tickets, be happy. Number 5, overpriced. There are some unbelievably beautiful plazas in Spain or even promenades right next to the beach. But you'll often find that those restaurants and bars are usually the most expensive. Now, okay, you're on holiday, so maybe you want to simply pay the price for the atmosphere. And if that's your choice, then I cannot blame you. But remember that this doesn't always mean the quality of the food and service is the best. In fact, sometimes it's the worst. Google Maps is your friends. Please check before you just walk into any restaurant. The first thing is that paella is probably just a pinga meal and the stale bread was bought from the local market a few days ago. You honestly want to be going to where the locals go. Some of the places in the touristy areas will also cater for locals. Just use your common sense there. But the other thing I suggest is to use, as I mentioned, Google Maps and look at the restaurant you are about to enter. It might be that it has glowing reviews, in which case you are in the clear. Alternatively, the reviews might be terrible, in which case stay clear. You will also find hidden gems, if you go off the beaten track. It might be that just off the main plaza, there is a beautiful little restaurant, reviewed on Google for 4.7 out of 5 with thousands of reviews. This is the place you want to go for. I had this exact experience in Segovia, where I had the most beautiful pork I've ever eaten. Number 6, intense summer heat. I mean, you're coming to Spain, so really this one is on you, but let's tackle it anyway. If you don't want the brutal summer heat, maybe look to visit outside of the summer period. Let's say you still want to come in summer. Maybe take a look at the north of Spain. Not only is it absolutely stunning, but it's supposedly the best food in the whole of Spain. You'll have to let me know though, because I have never been. Don't worry, it is on my bucket list and I will be doing it at some point. Let's say you've come to anywhere but the north and it's the height of summer. What do you do then? Well, my advice would be, if you want to avoid the heat, don't go out during the height of the day when the sun is at its most powerful. What you will notice about Spain, however, is that the temperatures peak much later in the day during the summer. In the UK, temperatures tend to stop going up around 1 p.m, but not here in Spain. You'll be waiting right up until the sun starts setting. Make sure you stay hydrated and wear sun cream. Number 7, limited shopping hours. This depends where you go. In my experience, this doesn't really happen in Madrid, but here in Valencia, it's a real issue. Like seriously, they seem to have any excuse to not open. I'm really not complaining though. I like the culture here for exactly that reason. They know when to just take a step back, appreciate life, and let people relax. But when you need the basics, milk, bread, tea for the morning, you'll find that not only do shops open at a weird time, but some days, such as Sundays, and many bank holidays, nothing is open. And specifically here in Valencia, you'll find 2 exceptions. If you need food on a Sunday, you can actually find some food in Charter. It's one of the supermarkets and it's owned by Consume. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. They are small, but they generally have the basics. The other, and this goes for the whole of Spain, are chinos shops. I don't think I have ever seen one closed, to be honest. They are small convenience stores, typically with incredibly limited food products, but it might just tie you over until the following day. Oh, and respect the siesta culture when in Rome, right? I mean, you are on holiday, take it easy, go with the flow. You've traveled all this way. You might as well just absolutely do nothing for the day and give your soul a rest. Number 8, noises in central areas. Spain knows how to party, and unless you want to join it, it can be quite full on. In preparation for your trip, it is worthwhile knowing what sort of environment you will be surrounded by. There are some super chilled places in Spain, but if you're going to any city, expect there to be some fiestas at some point. This might mean choosing accommodation in a quiet neighborhood, or if worse comes to worse, use earplugs. Problem 9, cultural etiquette and customs. Spain and the Spanish people are some of the warmest, most welcoming people you will meet. And with that comes certain cultural etiquette and customs. Speaking Spanish whenever you can will go a long way, as we've mentioned before. But there are other things to consider, such as whether to go for a formal handshake or a kiss on the cheek. This really depends on the environment and the relationship you have with the person. Spanish people generally eat meals late. Don't be surprised when the restaurants are still closed before 8 p.m. or even 9 p.m. You will also see that family is central to life for a lot of Spanish people. They show particular detail for respect to their elders, and the family bonds are strong. And moving on to time, as a Brit, we are pretty punctual. We're very rigid when it comes to our timing. In Spain, they are super flexible. Like really, turning up when you say you're going to turn up doesn't really happen. And another thing to mention, Spain doesn't really have a tipping culture, but it is appreciated if you choose to do so. Just bear that in mind. Spaniards are Catholic for the most part. As a Brit with Church of England roots, it isn't that different. Either way, religion is an important part of the culture here, so just be respectful. Now, I've managed to come up with solutions for each individual topic in this video, but this one is an exception. I don't really have a solution for all of this. It's just part of the process of learning about this place. And quite frankly, my advice is go out there, experience all that Spain has to offer, and learn about their awesome country. Did you gain anything from this video? Are there any problems I didn't list in this video that need to be mentioned? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.